People are losing their cars, not because they can't afford gas, but because they simply can't keep them running anymore. And the worst part? It's not a crash. It's not normal wear and tear. It's decisions made way above your head. Now let me ask you something. What if your car stopped working tomorrow because an electronic part just disappeared from the market? Sounds crazy, right? But it's already happening, and it could happen to you next. So go ahead and do this real quick. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Around here, we talk about the stuff a lot of people try to sweep under the rug, and we explain it in plain, no-nonsense terms. In a recent video we did about the dealership parts trap, one of our viewers left a comment that really hit the nail on the head. He basically said the US could end up heading down a path similar to places where people drive older cars, not because they love the look, but because they don't have a choice. And honestly, it might sound like an exaggeration, but when you see a brand new pickup truck pushing past $60,000, something like a new Toyota Tacoma or even higher-end trims getting close to 70, it starts to feel a little unsettling. And it doesn't stop there. While vehicle prices keep climbing, some critical parts, especially electronic modules, are becoming harder and harder to find. Combine that with modern cars relying more and more on computers, and suddenly you've got a vehicle that could easily last another decade, but turns into a paperweight because one control module fails. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Old-school American mechanics aren't just sitting back and accepting it. While some people give up, there are independent shops doing what you could call one of the biggest acts of automotive rebellion in years. They're stripping out all that complicated electronic hardware, wiring harnesses, sensors, control units, and going back to something simpler and more dependable. Old-school engines, built the traditional way, without all the extra layers. Yes, we're talking about a real mechanical pushback. Today, you're going to understand why some owners are ditching modern systems in favor of simpler, almost analog setups, the kind any experienced mechanic can fix with basic tools. And more importantly, why regulators are starting to pay attention and trying to make it harder, or even illegal, to do this kind of conversion, even though for many people, it's the only way to keep their vehicle on the road. To really understand why this rebellion is happening, you've got to see the trap that came along with electronic fuel injection. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, when this system became standard, it felt like a breakthrough. Cars started right up in cold weather, used less fuel, and ran smoother than ever. No hesitation, no rough idle. It was like going from an old transistor radio to a modern smartphone. Everything looked perfect, at first. But nobody told you about the hidden cost of that upgrade. This system relies on a complex web of delicate sensors, miles of wiring, and a central computer that controls everything. Basically, the brain of the car. In the early years, sure, it worked great, but here's the problem. Those components were never really built to last 20 or 30 years dealing with engine heat, moisture, road salt, dust, and rough roads across the US. Over time, things start to fall apart quietly. Plastic connectors get brittle and snap just from being touched. Wire insulation cracks from constant heat under the hood. And to make matters worse, some manufacturers started using eco-friendly wiring insulation that, believe it or not, attracts rodents. Yep, actual mice. They crawl in and turn your car's wiring harness into a buffet. Now picture the nightmare. You've got an older vehicle, maybe something like a Ford Ranger or a Chevrolet Silverado, and suddenly you're dealing with an intermittent electrical issue. One day it runs fine, the next it stumbles, then out of nowhere, it dies. The mechanic spends hours, sometimes days, trying to track down a broken wire, a bad ground, or some invisible electrical drain. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, in the dark. And when things really go downhill, the engine control module fails, or a critical sensor quits. So you go looking for the part, and find out it's been discontinued. No stock, no replacement. The dealership just shrugs and says, "There's nothing we can do." And just like that, your vehicle, which could have lasted years longer, becomes a paperweight. That's where things start to change. Smarter owners and seasoned mechanics are simply refusing to play along anymore. They're tired of depending on expensive, hard-to-find, fragile components. When the original engine setup becomes more trouble than it's worth, the solution is drastic, but incredibly practical. They rip it all out. Wiring harness? Gone. Sensors? Gone. Control module? Gone. Straight to the trash without a second thought. It's like cutting ties with an overcomplicated modern system and going back to something that just works through simplicity. Here in the US, you're starting to see builds where people take an older truck, say a Ford Ranger, and swap in a simpler, more old-school engine setup, sometimes even carbureted, the kind any experienced backyard mechanic can diagnose just by listening to it run. It might sound extreme, but if you've ever been stranded because of a $40 sensor you couldn't even find anywhere, it starts to make a whole lot of sense. Some mechanics are taking things even further. They'll grab a modern truck, something like a Chevrolet Silverado, pull out the electronic heavy V6, and replace it with a true old-school engine, the kind that runs purely on mechanical simplicity. Yes, they're literally removing the brain of the vehicle on purpose. And it doesn't stop there. Any experienced mechanic knows that once you remove the control module from a 2000s-era truck, it sets off a massive domino effect. The automatic transmission, which depends entirely on that system, basically falls apart. Modern automatics go into limp mode, get stuck in gear, shift rough. It turns into a mess fast. But the people doing these builds are already thinking ahead. They don't try to save the system, they replace everything. Out goes the sensor-packed automatic transmission, and in comes something older and fully mechanical. Or even a true manual transmission with a real clutch, the kind where you actually feel the car through your leg. Here in the US, this is similar to old-school truck builds or restorations, where the focus is durability and control, not electronic comfort. So what do you end up with? A clean engine bay. No tangled wiring, no fragile sensors everywhere, no brittle plastic components waiting to fail, just the essentials. Some builds eliminate over 30 pounds of unnecessary wiring and electronics without even trying. And here's the most impressive part. Once it's done, the engine barely needs anything to run. 3 wires, one for the starter, one for the alternator, and one for the ignition coil. That's it. Now comes the question a lot of people ask. Why would anyone go back to older technology? The answer is simple, and honestly, kind of brilliant. Because a carburetor runs on pure physics. No software, no updates, no glitches. It relies on airflow and the Venturi effect to pull in just the right amount of fuel based on what the engine actually needs in real time. There's no chip making decisions, no code freezing up, no system randomly throwing the vehicle into limp mode, no electronic throttle body limiting you, no forced updates, no dashboard lighting up like a Christmas tree for no clear reason. It's mechanical, direct, predictable, and in the end, it's the kind of reliability a lot of people feel is missing today. And there's more. In a simple setup like this, there's no oxygen sensor constantly reading the exhaust and sending data back to a computer to fine-tune the fuel mixture. None of that. It's just you, the engine, and physics working together. One of our viewers left a comment that summed it up perfectly. If a carburetor gasket fails out in the middle of nowhere, you can fix it right there on the spot. Grab a piece of cardboard, cut it to shape with a pocket knife, bolt it back together, and you're back on the road. Now try doing that when an engine control module fails. There's no quick fix. That's just an expensive problem, period. When you drop a carbureted V8 and a fully mechanical transmission into a more modern body, you end up with something that's becoming rare today: true automotive independence. On the outside, you still have comfort, power steering, air conditioning, a solid ride. Under the hood, it's all simplicity, raw, mechanical, and impossible to lock out with software. It's a vehicle that doesn't rely on systems, updates, or anyone's permission to keep running. And guess what? That makes people uncomfortable, especially the ones in charge. That level of mechanical freedom raises eyebrows with regulators. Because the less dependent a vehicle is on controlled technology, the less control they have over what you can do with your own car. These days, doing a build like this isn't just a mechanical challenge, it's almost a legal minefield. Agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency and strict state regulators such as the California Air Resources Board have made it clear there's a line, and they don't want people crossing it. And here's the thing, once that kind of pressure starts building in the US, it tends to influence regulations elsewhere sooner or later. And that's when things start getting even more serious. And this is where things stop being just about mechanics and turn into something much more serious. Under emissions laws, modifying a vehicle's original systems, like removing a catalytic converter, sensors, or any emissions-related components, can land you in real trouble. Even worse, installing an older engine that doesn't meet those requirements into a newer vehicle can make it illegal to drive on public roads. In practice, it's almost like your vehicle comes with a predefined fate. If it left the factory with sensors, catalytic converters, and a full electronic control system, the expectation is that it stays that way for life. Change that, you could be facing headaches. In states with stricter inspections, all it takes is opening the hood and spotting a carburetor sitting where a modern intake system should be, and that's an instant fail. No approval, no registration. No registration, no driving. That's when a lot of people start asking, wait a second, do I actually own this car? To get around that, people start looking for creative workarounds. Some register their vehicles for agricultural or off-road use. Others go for classic or antique plates. And some simply live in areas where inspections aren't as strict. It's not about cutting corners. For many, it's about keeping a machine alive that still works. Officially, the argument is environmental protection. And yes, that matters. But from the perspective of many mechanics and car owners, there's another layer to this: control. Think about it. If the manufacturer controls the engine software, and the law strictly defines what you can and can't install in your own vehicle, how much of it is really yours? Or did you just buy an expensive product, full of restrictions, that you're not truly free to modify? This growing pressure helps explain why older engines, especially those built before complex emission systems became mandatory, are becoming more valuable. In the US, simple, durable, easy-to-work-on engines, like the ones found in classics such as the Chevrolet Impala, are starting to feel like gold. Because in the middle of all this fragile, expensive technology, what a lot of people really want is something that just works. No permission required. And this movement is already happening, and it's not small. You've got mechanics hunting down classic engines like they're rare artifacts. Some are chasing the legendary Chrysler Slant 6, others are pulling old inline-six engines out of barns and farm trucks. And there's a rush to grab any old-school small-block V8 before they disappear from the market. Here in the US, the mindset is the same. Strong, simple, nearly indestructible engines, the kind you'd find in older vehicles, are becoming more valuable than ever. Because they offer something modern engines have lost: independence. These engines are practically untouchable. No sensors to fail, no software to lock you out, no updates that can suddenly sideline your vehicle. You turn the key, and it runs. Meanwhile, the modern market keeps pushing more expensive vehicles packed with tech and completely dependent on electronic systems. And for a lot of people, the feeling is clear. Either you play along, or you're left without options. But there's one thing they're overlooking. People who truly love cars aren't just consumers. They're problem solvers. They're the kind of folks who pop the hood and figure things out. If a part isn't available, they adapt. If a system gets too complicated, they simplify it. If they stop making a control module, rip it out. If they try to restrict modifications, people find another way. This isn't just about cars. It's about the freedom to use what you paid for. Now I want to hear from you. Have you dealt with this? Ever had an electrical issue that felt impossible to fix? Have you thought about simplifying your vehicle to avoid these kinds of problems? Drop a comment below and share what things are like where you live and what you've been doing to keep your vehicle on the road. At the end of the day, it's this kind of shared experience that helps everyone avoid getting stuck. And if you're tired of depending on the dealership for everything, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and join a group that still believes in getting your hands dirty and fixing things the right way. Stay sharp, keep taking care of your own ride, and I'll see you in the next video.